When I talk about daily habits every woman must master, I always begin with the one that seems simple, but is the most profound: self-awareness. Because without knowing who you truly are, without taking the time to sit with yourself, no habit you try to build will ever have deep roots. Self-awareness is the habit that opens the door to everything else. It's not just about noticing how you look in the mirror or what other people say about you. It's about developing the courage to look within, to ask yourself the questions that matter. Who am I today? What do I value? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to lean into? Those questions are not always comfortable, but they are necessary if you want to live a life that feels authentic and whole. Now, self-awareness is not something you check off a list. It's a practice. Just like brushing your teeth or drinking water, it becomes part of your daily rhythm. When you wake up, before you reach for your phone, take a moment to check in with yourself. How does your body feel? What thoughts are already moving through your mind? What emotions are sitting quietly, waiting to be acknowledged? That simple act of noticing changes everything. Because the truth is, if you don't pause long enough to listen to yourself, you can spend your entire day running in directions that don't even belong to you. And too many women live like that, carrying out routines that are reflections of expectations instead of desires, fulfilling roles while neglecting the soul behind the role. I've learned that self-awareness is the difference between reacting to life and responding to it. When you are aware, you give yourself the power of choice. Instead of being swept away by someone else's urgency, you can decide, no, that's not my priority right now. Instead of saying yes to something you know will drain you, you can stand in the truth of your no. And every time you make those choices, you are shaping the kind of life that reflects your true essence. That is what awareness does. It puts you in touch with your inner compass. And it doesn't mean you'll always have the answers. Self-awareness is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about knowing when you've made a mistake and having the humility to own it. It's about feeling that pang of jealousy or anger and choosing to explore what it's teaching rather than letting it rule your day. It's about being honest when you're tired and saying, I need rest, instead of pushing through until you collapse. This level of honesty with yourself is where freedom lies. Some of you may be thinking, I don't have time to sit and reflect every day. But the truth is, self-awareness doesn't require hours. It requires intention. You can practice it in the quiet moments, while driving, while folding laundry, or even while standing in line. It's in asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? And listening without judgment. When you give yourself that grace, you begin to recognize patterns, triggers, and strengths you never noticed before. And that recognition is what allows growth. Every woman who masters the habit of self-awareness becomes unstoppable, not because she's perfect, but because she's anchored. Life will still bring storms, disappointments, and changes you never asked for. But when you are anchored in the knowledge of who you are, you don't drift so easily. You can bend without breaking. You can stand without shrinking. You can love yourself enough to keep showing up as the fullest version of you. So, when I say the first daily habit every woman must master is self-awareness, it's because it is the foundation for everything else you will build. When you know yourself, you honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, the world learns how to honor you too. The second habit every woman must master is caring for her health and energy. Because your body is not just the vessel that carries you through the day. It is the very foundation on which your dreams stand. Too many of us push our bodies to the edge, expecting them to show up for us, even when we don't show up for them. We run on empty, we sacrifice sleep, we fuel ourselves with quick fixes and wonder why we feel depleted. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. When your body is tired, when your energy is low, it affects not just your physical strength, but your emotional resilience, your mental clarity, your spirit. That's why health is not a luxury. It is a daily habit of love. Taking care of your body is about small, consistent choices. It's about choosing water when you've already had enough sugar. It's about carving out even 20 minutes to move your body, whether it's walking, dancing, stretching, or anything that makes you feel alive inside your skin. Movement is not about fitting into a certain size. It's about honoring the fact that your body was created to move, to expand, to breathe deeply. And when you move, you don't just strengthen muscles, you release stress, you awaken joy, you remind yourself that you are alive. Rest is just as important. Some women treat sleep like it's optional, something you can bargain away for productivity. But let me tell you, rest is not weakness. Rest is restoration. It's the body's way of healing, the mind's way of clearing, the spirit's way of whispering back to you. When you give yourself enough sleep, you are not being indulgent, you are being wise. A well-rested woman thinks clearer, loves deeper, and makes decisions from a place of strength instead of survival. And let's talk about what you put into your body. Food is not just fuel, it's information. Every bite tells your body how to feel, how to perform, how to heal. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy the flavors you love, but it does mean being mindful of balance. It means paying attention to how certain foods make you feel. When you eat what nourishes you, you give yourself energy that lasts longer than the quick high of sugar or caffeine. And that energy is what allows you to show up fully for the things that matter most. Another part of protecting your health is learning to listen to your body's signals. Pain, fatigue, tension, they are not inconveniences to ignore, they are messages. Your body speaks to you every single day, and awareness of those signals can save your life. So many women are conditioned to push through, to keep going no matter what. But real strength is not in ignoring the signals. It's in honoring them. It's in booking that doctor's appointment, in slowing down when your body says stop, in giving yourself permission to heal. Now, I want you to think about energy not only as physical, but also emotional and spiritual. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you entertain, the content you consume, all of these feed or drain your energy. Protecting your energy is just as important as protecting your health. Ask yourself, does this lift me? Or does this leave me empty? Because you deserve to create a life where your energy is invested in what gives you light, not what dims it. When you master the habit of caring for your health and energy, you begin to notice the difference in every area of your life. You think more clearly, you feel more grounded, you have the stamina to pursue your goals with intention. You're no longer dragging yourself through the day. You are flowing through it with strength, vitality, and grace. And that is what allows you to keep showing up for your life in the way it deserves. The third habit every woman must master is cultivating inner stillness. In a world that never stops talking, where phones are buzzing, schedules are packed, and everyone seems to be demanding something from you, finding that quiet place within yourself becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. Inner stillness is what allows you to reconnect with your center, to step out of the noise, and to listen to the deeper wisdom that is always present inside of you. Without it, you risk being carried away by the currents of life, reacting to everything around you, but never truly responding from a place of peace. Stillness doesn't mean sitting in silence for hours every day. It doesn't require a perfect meditation cushion, a candle, or a mountain retreat. Stillness is the practice of coming home to yourself, wherever you are. It can be as simple as pausing to breathe deeply before you walk into a meeting, or taking 5 minutes at the end of the day to close your eyes and let your thoughts settle. It's giving yourself permission to just be without rushing to the next thing. When you build that habit, even in small doses, you begin to notice how much clearer life feels. The noise may still be there, but it no longer controls you. What I have learned is that stillness opens a doorway to clarity. When you allow yourself to pause, you can hear the whisper underneath the chaos, the one that tells you what really matters, the one that reminds you of your strength, the one that says, "This is the way." Too often, we miss that whisper because we are too busy running, fixing, and doing. But when you create space for stillness, that whisper becomes your guide, and that guidance is far more powerful than any advice the world can give you. Stillness also gives you the strength to handle the storms of life. Because storms will come. There will be days when things don't go the way you planned, when people disappoint you, when loss or uncertainty knocks at your door. If you haven't cultivated inner stillness, those moments can shake you to your core. But when you have learned to ground yourself, to return to that quiet space within, you find that you are not so easily shaken. You may bend, but you will not break. You may cry, but you will not be destroyed. Stillness gives you the resilience to stand in the middle of the storm and know that it will pass, and that you are strong enough to endure. And here's the beautiful thing about stillness. It doesn't just serve you, it serves everyone around you. When a woman walks into a room carrying peace within her, she changes the atmosphere. People feel calmer, safer, more grounded in her presence. Your inner stillness becomes a gift you offer to your family, your friends, your work, your community. It becomes the anchor that others can hold on to when the world feels unsteady. For many women, the hardest part is giving themselves permission to slow down. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our business, that if we're not producing or performing, we're somehow falling behind. But the truth is, business without stillness is emptiness. It drains you instead of filling you. When you master the habit of stillness, you reclaim your time, your presence, your spirit. So I say to you, make room for that pause. Make room for that breath. Make room for that space where your soul can rest. Because in that stillness, you will not only find peace, you will find yourself. The fourth habit every woman must master is owning her voice. Your voice is more than just the sound that comes out of your mouth. It is the expression of your truth, your perspective, your presence in the world. Too many women silence themselves out of fear of judgment, rejection, or conflict. They hold back what they really feel. They shrink their words to make others comfortable, or they convince themselves that staying quiet keeps the peace. But let me tell you, silence at the cost of your truth is not peace. It is self-betrayal. And the habit of owning your voice is about breaking that pattern, about choosing to stand in your truth with courage and grace. Owning your voice begins within. Before you can speak it out into the world, you have to first hear it yourself. That means paying attention to what you really think, what you truly believe, and what you deeply feel. It means being honest with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Too often, we override our own instincts. We second guess that nudge inside that says, "This isn't right," or "I deserve better." But the moment you start honoring that inner voice, you begin to strengthen the outer one. The more you trust yourself, the more powerful your words become when you share them with others. This habit is not about being loud, it's about being authentic. Some women speak softly, others speak boldly, but what matters is not the volume. What matters is that your words align with your truth. When you own your voice, people may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. Because there is something magnetic about a woman who knows her mind and isn't afraid to express it. Her voice doesn't waver with the opinions of others. It carries the weight of her convictions. Now, I know it can feel risky. Speaking up can sometimes invite criticism or misunderstanding. But here's what I want you to remember: your silence will never protect you. It may delay conflict, it may avoid discomfort, but it will also deny you the chance to live fully as yourself. Every time you choose silence when your soul is calling you to speak, you dim your own light. And the world needs that light. The world needs your perspective, your ideas, your stories, your questions. You never know whose life may be changed by the courage of your words. Owning your voice also means learning to communicate with both strength and compassion. It's not about shouting to be heard or fighting to dominate. It's about finding the balance between firmness and grace. When you speak with clarity, you don't need to raise your voice. When you speak with respect, you don't have to diminish others. And when you speak with authenticity, your words carry a power that echoes far beyond the moment. This habit shows up in big ways and in small ways. It's in asking for what you need in your relationships instead of hoping someone will guess. It's in saying no without apology when something doesn't serve you. It's in sharing your ideas at work, even when your voice trembles. It's in telling your story, because your story has value. Every time you use your voice, you affirm your right to exist fully and freely. And the beauty of it is, the more you practice, the stronger you become. At first, your voice might shake. That's okay. Keep speaking. With each word, you are training yourself to step out of the shadows and into the light. And one day, you will notice that the very thing you were once afraid to say is now the truth you speak with ease. So, when I tell you to own your voice, I am reminding you that your voice is not just for you. It is a gift for the world. And when you master the habit of using it, you don't just set yourself free, you give permission for others to do the same. The fifth habit every woman must master is financial wisdom. Money is one of the most powerful tools we have in shaping our lives, and yet so many women carry complicated feelings around it: fear, guilt, shame, or even silence. We are often taught to work hard, to give, to nurture, but not always to manage, grow, and protect our money. But here's the truth: financial wisdom is not about how much you have, it's about how you handle what you have. It's about developing a daily habit of responsibility, clarity, and intention with your resources. Because money, when respected and understood, is not just currency, it is freedom. Every woman deserves to feel in control of her financial life. That begins with awareness. Too many people avoid looking at their bank account because it feels uncomfortable. They spend without clarity, then wonder why they feel anxious at the end of the month. But avoidance never brings peace. What brings peace is facing the numbers, understanding where your money is going, and making choices that reflect your values. When you create the habit of checking in with your finances, even in small ways, you take back your power. Because knowledge is power. Financial wisdom also means learning the discipline of saving. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't always give you instant gratification. But saving is what builds security. Even if it's a small amount, putting something aside for yourself creates a sense of stability that nothing else can replace. It's a way of saying to yourself, I am preparing for my future. I am taking care of the woman I am becoming. That daily act of saving is not just financial. It is emotional. It gives you the confidence that you will be okay, no matter what comes your way. And just as important as saving is understanding how to spend with intention. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want to live. Ask yourself, does this purchase bring me closer to the life I envision? Or is it just filling a temporary void? When you begin to align your spending with your values, you start to feel a sense of integrity in your financial life. You are no longer a passive consumer. You are an active creator. For many women, the idea of investing feels intimidating, like it belongs to someone else, someone smarter or more powerful. But financial wisdom is about breaking through that belief and realizing that investing is simply the act of making your money work for you. It is the habit of planting seeds today so that you can harvest abundance tomorrow. And in today's world, there are endless resources to help women learn, grow, and step into that space with confidence. The habit of financial growth is not reserved for the wealthy. It is available to anyone willing to learn and take small steps consistently. But here is something that often gets overlooked: financial wisdom is not just about accumulation, it's also about generosity. When you are wise with your money, you create the ability to give freely, to support causes you care about, to help those in need without harming yourself. True abundance is not measured only by what you keep, but also by what you are able to release with love. That balance of saving, spending wisely, growing, and giving is the heart of financial freedom. So many women have been told that money is complicated, that it's not for them, that someone else should handle it. But the habit of financial wisdom teaches you otherwise. It shows you that money is not a mystery. It is simply a mirror of your choices. And when you master it, you are not just securing your future, you are creating a life where your choices, your freedom, and your voice are never bound by fear. That is why financial wisdom must become a daily habit. Because when you honor your money, you honor yourself. The sixth habit every woman must master is consistency with compassion. So often we hear about discipline, about routines, about pushing ourselves to stay committed to our goals. And yes, consistency is the key to building anything meaningful. But consistency without compassion can become a prison. It can turn into a rigid standard where you measure your worth by how perfectly you followed through. That's not the kind of life we are building here. The true habit is learning how to stay steady while also giving yourself grace. It's the balance of showing up every day with commitment, but also remembering that you are human, and that humanity is what makes the journey beautiful. Consistency matters because it's what transforms intentions into reality. Dreams don't work without it. You can have the vision, the plan, the motivation, but if you don't follow through day by day, nothing changes. And the truth is, consistency is rarely about the big leaps. It's about the small steps, repeated over and over again. It's waking up and choosing to do the thing even when you don't feel like it. It's making the healthier choice, writing the page, practicing the skill, having the conversation, over and over until it becomes part of who you are. That is how growth takes root. But what often gets left out of the conversation is compassion. Because let's be honest, there will be days when you fall short. There will be mornings you sleep through the alarm, afternoons when you break your diet, evenings when you skip the workout, or times when you simply don't have the energy to give your best. And if your consistency is built only on perfection, then every stumble feels like failure. That's when women start to spiral into guilt and shame. And that is what makes them quit altogether. Compassion is what allows you to get back up. It's what says, yes, I slipped today, but that doesn't erase all the progress I've made. Tomorrow, I begin again. Compassion doesn't excuse you from responsibility. It strengthens your responsibility by making it sustainable. Because you can only be consistent if you learn how to keep walking even after you trip. And that takes kindness toward yourself. Think about how you treat someone you love when they make a mistake. You don't condemn them forever. You encourage them, remind them of their worth, help them try again. That is the same voice you must use on yourself. Too many women have mastered the art of compassion for others, but have forgotten how to turn it inward. And yet, when you combine compassion with consistency, you create a rhythm of growth that you can sustain for a lifetime. This balance is powerful because it makes you resilient. Life will not always be smooth. There will be setbacks, detours, and seasons when progress feels slow. Consistency with compassion means you don't abandon yourself during those seasons. You keep showing up in the ways you can, and you forgive yourself for the days when you can't. It means you don't give up on the bigger picture just because today wasn't perfect. Over time, this habit creates trust within yourself. You begin to believe in your ability to keep going, not because you never stumble, but because you always rise. And that is what matters most. The world doesn't need perfect women. It needs women who are steady, who are kind to themselves, who know how to keep walking forward even with scraped knees and tired hearts. So remember this, consistency will get you far, but compassion will keep you whole. And when you learn to weave the two together, There is nothing you cannot build, nothing you cannot overcome, nothing you cannot become.